previously stated, I don't like F1. And I don't like it for copious amounts of reasons, but most notably the boring people that go, this is a thing, and blah, blah, blah. And they're basically like paint drying on a wall. I don't care. Nonetheless, thanks to the games I've been, well, I wouldn't say just the games, I've been pulled into the series of motor racing through several things, including the games and last year's very tight calendar that made every race go bang, 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 straight at you every single week or every second week or third week or whatever. Nonetheless, it was great fun last year, and I've been playing a bit of last year's game. Of course I have. I basically use it as a bit of a de-stressor. But I've been doing so by playing with the assists off, or at least one of the major assists off, which is the traction control, as the FIA something or other regulation 9.3 states. No car may be equipped with a system or device which is capable of preventing the driven wheels from spinning under the power or of compensating for excess torque demanded by the driver. It's a very boring paragraph about how traction control is not allowed. Just, it's that simple. Anything that can be considered traction control, i.e. preventing the driven wheels from spinning under their own power or the power demanded by the driver, is banned. So I've been trying to drive without any assists on traction control, and for quite a while I've had this little thought in the back of my head about how the games don't really give you a good tutorial or a good way to really move up from that. Okay, you have fully on, you have medium, and then you have off. And that sounds fine. That sounds like, okay, you can have a bit of a gradient and you can go from fully on and you have all the traction control preventing you from spinning all the time. And then you have medium, which means you can spin sometimes, but you'll learn not to. And then you have off, which means you're going to die, you're insane. And the you're going to die, you're insane bit is the tricky bit. There's no low, there's no in-game way of saying, okay, this is how to prevent spinning. This is how to prevent the driven wheels from spinning independently of each other. But there kind of is. Okay, it takes a bit of understanding and listening to really get it, but basically, when you're playing F1, any of them, you really need to hear the engine. You really need to hear the engine. You might have noticed that I've not really included any engine sounds here because, well, I kind of needed to hear them and I wanted to bring that up now. So you have to listen to the engine to understand, okay, I'm about to spin, I should maybe get off the throttle, because a lot of the traction control issues that people have happens to be stamping on the power straight away. Off the line or out of a corner, it's stamp on the power and bang away into a wall, most likely, which is not how you win a race. You stamp on the power because you're conditioned by every other game to stamp on the power and then you go. Burnout, for example. And that's fine. That's fine, but F1 is a bit of a different beast. You see, the way F1 cars work is basically they're as light as possible, and then any weight, any proper sense of weight comes from the fact that they are just downforce machines. They suck in the air and pull themselves to the ground, effectively. But coming out of a corner, doing that in a corner, or coming out of a corner, is a little bit tricky. You don't have a lot of downforce when going around a bend because, well, it's a bend. You're not going in a straight line, therefore the wings can't really push the air down as much as they would at high speeds under. Basically, the high speed bit of F1 is what creates the higher speeds. Okay, that doesn't sound like it makes sense, but believe me, it does. Essentially, in a corner, you can't go fast because there's no weight to the car. There's less than a ton in the car. And when you try and put a lot of power, a lot of V6 hybrid power into the back wheels and get out of that corner, you're basically going to spin because you're flying a paper airplane through thin air. However, at high speeds on a straight, that paper airplane has the bits pushing it down, and think of it as an inverse plane, as is often said by Martin Brundle. Basically, an upside down plane that's going along the floor. Okay, that just sounds stupid now. But follow me here, right? It's an upside down plane that's going very fast along straight when, full throttle down and on a straight. But in a corner, that inverse plane thing just goes out the bloody window because it doesn't have the lift or downforce in this case to push it. You don't have the wings and every other aerodynamic bit pushing the air under the car and over the car to create this suction to the ground, which then creates the high speed. So when you're coming out of corner, as I've tried to explain crudely here, basically you don't have that, therefore demanding a lot of power is going to kill you. So how do you train yourself to not think of driving very, very fast and putting yourself in a wall or doing a Mazda spin? Basically, use the other bits of the game. I know everyone probably hates the idea of going back to F2, but really, F2's there for a reason. F2 is there for a very good reason for F1. It is there to create the up-and-coming stars and Nikita Mazepin for F1. And when you have, that going on, you have a bit of a less powerful car. F2 is just the junior category, and with that comes less powerful cars, less powerful downforce, and a better training tool than just me saying, oh, you don't have to slam on the throttle as soon as you come out of a corner. No, go back to F2, go round Brazil, go round anywhere really, anywhere with any tight hairpins. Canada has a brilliant hairpin at the end for that big straight bit. It's great, I love Canada, I really do. Nonetheless, Canada's lovely. I don't really like Azerbaijan because who does? What else? Hungary is a good one because it has that bit in turn one where it's very low traction and you have to get out of the corner without putting it in the wall immediately. It's great. I love it. I don't like Hungary, but still. What I'm saying is, go back to F2 in F1 2020 or 2019 or 2021 when that comes out, and get this, turn off traction control. You aren't going to get it straight away. You aren't going to suddenly become a driving god, but you'll start to realize, oh, if I just step off the power here, or if I don't put my foot completely down, or my finger down if you're playing with a controller, if you just temper yourself coming out of that corner, you'll learn, okay, so that's what I do there. Also, and this is a good thing, use the practice sessions. I know it sounds weird, but use the practice sessions to, I don't know, practice. Use them to go around the track and learn braking points, learn where you're going to pull off the throttle and slam on the throttle, learn where you're going to do things. That's the point of them. Oh, but practice is boring. I know it is. I do it for every race weekend except Vietnam, because I punted Vietnam off the calendar because no one likes Vietnam except Tilker. It takes time to learn how to drive without traction control in an F1 car. It goes without saying that that's the case. It's not an easy thing to do because, well, an F1 car is not meant to be easy. It's meant to be a very, very, very hard thing to drive. And only the very, very, very best, and Nikita Mazepin and Lance Stroll should be driving them. Look, it's going to take a while to really properly get into how to drive without traction control. For some it's easier, some it's harder, but if you're doing it with a controller, you're going to have a bit of a harder time if you're new to driving with a steering wheel, which I am. You might also have a bit of a problem doing it because, well, of course, you're new to something else and you're adding that on top. The point that I was trying to make earlier is the fact that you go from full traction control to medium to completely off instead of, medium, low, off. I feel like there should be at least some intermediary point between medium and off. But then again, I'm a mental that throws these types of cars into the wall at Monaco.